All right, so for this last week, our main trade was the Fed trade, starting Wednesday. We were, it was back here, and we did some pretty in-depth review and studying the Fed days from this year and how a lot of them have reacted, nuances, and how to trade them and create an execution approach. And we had really good data, and so we were pretty convicted and had a pretty high confidence level in our execution strategy. But we started buying some into the first fake move lower within the first 30 minutes after the 2 p.m. Fed meeting, and then got flat around 25, close to 30 minutes after that. And from there, we got a really, really nice reversal off the low, almost a full ATR from that. And we had a 300% moving premium. So we did take off around 40% or so of our calls that were 0 DTE. But the remaining, we noticed a nuance that was not in the previous 4 instances where this trade has worked. And so we ended up saving the rest of the premium. We still took it for a loss, but we saved the remainder, noting that it wasn't acting the way it has the previous 4 times it did work. And then from there, we spoke with Max as well. That helped us with this idea, but flipping short was a really interesting idea. Once you had a really volatile move long on this day, the idea that it could wash out into the close could look like a very good short was at the time a really good risk reward idea. So once price had gotten under VWAP around 287 of that day, we decided to flip short and take 3 DTE puts or 2 DTE puts at the end of that day. And so we made a little bit on that and sold that into the next day. And Brian will talk about some of the work we've been doing as well.
Yeah, so a lot of the work we're doing outside of the options end is around earnings and preparing for earnings season. One theme we noticed of the last few weeks is a ton of prelim earnings have come out. Companies have come in saying they're cutting guidance or they're lowering estimates. And this isn't a trade we're too familiar with right now. So just tracking a lot of this data, looking at what the dailies look like, what the preceding days look like, what caused certain names to bounce, what caused certain names to get high volume off the open and flush. Um, and then the last part of this trade would be how do the actual earnings react? There are a couple ideas with how we can execute that, but I'd like to see how these earnings come out first before we jump to any conclusions. As far as the short side go, we are just much familiar with long earnings kind of trades and setting up for both the swing and the intraday. But the short side, we haven't been able to extract that much P&L from it yet. And so realizing that that's a weakness and hole that we haven't really addressed, we're just looking to expand on that a lot more moving forward. And the way we believe we can do that is collecting data from the last 0 to 2 months of earnings, all the ones that gap down below 4%, and then seeing if there's commonalities between ones that had really good rollovers or short squeezes. And then from there, looking to build trades off of that. And we'll keep you guys updated on the conclusions that we make.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.